Hello everybody, and welcome to the Forum Thread Podcast, number 152. I am Wadabra, and here with me tonight, I have got Chaos Mana.
Hello.
And Mr. Potter.
What's up, guys?
The ceiling.
And apparently the puppy's size as well.
The puppy size is definitely up. He's not fitting on the little pillow next to me like he's supposed to. So for now, he's just chilling in the bedroom back behind me somewhere. Every so often, I'm gonna look behind to make sure he's not chewing on anything. But yeah, he's good.
That's good. Puppies
It's good
are
to be
handful.
back too. I missed you guys.
I miss you too. Where you been?
I was sick, and then I don't remember what happened last week. It was something. It was sad. I wasn't here.
I think it was puppy stuff.
Maybe. I don't
I
remember.
just wanted to spend some time with your puppy and take care of it. Which is understandable, especially if it's a young one.
Oh god, yeah. He's not gonna be young forever, though. So anyway, I remember you were saying beforehand that we had a couple special things that we needed to do today.
Mm-hmm.
Thing one, less important than thing two. So let's first tackle thing one. You wanted to talk about the Pokemon GTA thing that you made me watch?
Yes. So that I made you watch here. Yeah.
So this thing that you made me watch, it was, correct me if I'm wrong, it was the Pokemon intro, because it was a song, so I'm assuming it's supposed to be the Pokemon intro, but redone using Grand Theft Auto 5?
Yes, and it is hilarious.
It's one of those things where I didn't expect, I wasn't sure what to expect when I saw the premise of it, because people have done all sorts of ways to get around, well, you can't actually have a Pokemon. And the skins, I didn't even know you could change your person's skin like that. It's rather disturbing.
Yeah, so in the video, apparently, there's some sort of, body paint mechanic where they have all these, pretty hyper-realistic looking people, but they're painted up to look kind of like Pokemon, and they're, throwing Pokeballs at them, and, of course, the Pokeballs just set them on fire instead of going inside.
Is that like a mod?
It has to be.
I'm assuming it's not pomade, but what do you call it? Not napalm or something.
Molotovs.
Yeah, there we go. It's a modified Molotov cocktail.
Exactly.
But now that, after singing that, when you walked away to go pee right before we started recording, I started singing the Pokemon theme song, and I'm like, God damn it, the theme song is stuck in my head now, and it's still playing in the back of my head right now. Pokemon! That's the real reason why that show was a success. It wasn't because the show was actually good, it was because they had a fucking catchy theme song, and you couldn't get it out of your head.
I mean, that's definitely, I would say it's a huge part about it, for sure, but I really enjoyed, I think it was also, basically when you were introduced to Pokemon, what age you were introduced. I was, 11, maybe 12, So
I was just a little bit older, but still, I don't know. I was always a snob for my TV shows and movies, and it was just a little too cliched, and our lesson of the day is this, and then all the Pokemon only being able to say their names, but humans seem to understand what they're saying sometimes, and it just really annoyed the hell out of me. I'm like, I don't want to listen to Pikachu say Pika, 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 Pikachu, Pika, Pika.
That's right, Pikachu.
No.
Gotta get the bad guys.
I'm done. I'm done.
And somehow they're smart enough to understand English language. Just completely.
Well, there was a theory that that humans are actually a pre-evolved form of Pokemon or something like that. According to the lore, some of the Pokemon were actually what do you call it? One of the ghost Pokemon was actually created from the souls of dead children or something like that.
I think that was either Ghastly or Haunter.
Something like that. So
One
that,
of them.
and then there's like some of the books that are scattered throughout the world. I don't really like the stuff myself. I never played the games, but I like to watch Game Theory and other types of shows like Game Theory, where they delve into a bunch of random shit. And apparently, like, there's these books inside some of the libraries, inside some of the games that you can read, and they talk about a time when humans and Pokemon were the same. And then, like, they became different somehow. And then, like, the Pokemons wanted to get stronger, so they chose to, like, have these humans who, you know, are them themselves not particularly powerful, but they make good trainers. So it's like this weird symbiotic relationship that the two species evolved with each other. And I'm like, really? All this lore is, like, hidden inside random books, inside libraries that nobody but completionists bother to read.
Yeah, nobody.
It's usually you never think to come across it, but I remember in like Diamond and Pearl there was a couple just like, oh, it's like very strangely worded lore books that were just in the library that only some of the bookcases, mind you, so you'd have to click on every bookcase to find some of them.
Yeah, you see, this is the type of shit like they're describing in these books that I would like to watch in a TV show. Like, I want to see that history, make a show out of that. That sounds really interesting, but it's like the most interesting part was just like tucked in the back. It's like, okay, now you're gonna fight monsters. I'm like, oh, but I don't want to fight the monsters.
Can we not?
Yeah, can't we just do all the other things? I really like the idea of Pokemon Snap when I first saw it. I didn't have a Nintendo 64, so I never played it, but I thought, now that's a cool idea. You can wander around in the Pokemon world and, like, take it in and then take pictures. And then I realized that the whole thing was on rails or something like that, like from your little safari car, and that's when I kind of fell out of love with it. But I thought it was, you know, something along the lines of how, like, the open world sandbox games like Morrowind or something are. I'm like, it'd be kind of cool where you're armed with your camera and you're kind of let loose in the middle of this, you know, wilderness infested with Pokemon, and you have to document, you know, whatever the mission is. You're like, you need to take photos of these particular Pokemon. You have to venture forth out to go find them and overcome obstacles and not die. And I'm like, oh, that sounds fun. And it totally was not that, but that's what I was hoping it was going to be.
Basically you're filming a nature show, and it's like you're going to the extreme environments to see the rarest Pokemon, and you have to take pictures and videotape and like.
Yeah, because that's the way the preview made it sound with the announcer guy and everything. I'm like, dude, that's awesome. And then I actually saw some game footage of it. I'm like, this is it.
That's it.
This is really no.
Yeah, if it was like more like even the regular Pokemon worlds, or an even more like 3D world where you could actually go to different zones and on your own pace, like actually, if it like, I think if they did make a sequel, that's kind of probably the style they might go after, is like actually feeling like you are the photographer going out into the world, not just, hey, this is a fun little, you know, roller coaster track.
Right, and it seems like such a waste since they've spent, you know, such a large amount of time coming with such detailed worlds for all the games to take place in. And sure, it's for handhelds mostly, but it, you know, if they could just like channel that energy into making, you know, like taking what they've already made and, you know, make a 3D map that you could then explore with some, you know, pretty badass looking Pokemon. It doesn't have to be like the most badass looking anything, like but top of the line photorealistic anything, but you can go a long way with stylization. And they could make a really good stylized game out of this.
Even the current like most advanced DS games have really nice looking visuals, and they're just the DS games. Like if they try to do another Snap for like the most recent Wii that they're at, then they could probably have a really nice looking ability to make the map.
They're like, hear that, Nintendo? Are you listening? For the NX, we want a proper Pokemon Snap game. Open world sandbox. Danger. Survival. Oh my god.
Augmented reality somewhere in the mix.
Oh my god. A open world sandbox survival game set in the Pokemon world where you have to snap pictures.
Oh,
that would be awesome. I want to play this game right now.
It would hook me if there was a battling element.
Okay, there could be an
like
optional battling element for all you lame asses that already like what you've got and don't want to branch out and try new things. God, this is why they keep on making sequels to everything.
If they wanted to really work a lot into it, they could have it like a split dimension sort of situation where if you chose the trainer path, then certain areas were blocked off because you have to kind of follow the direction of the trainer. And then if you were the photographer, well, some places are too dangerous, some paths are too dangerous for you to take because you don't have any Pokemon, but you'd have like a press pass essentially to go through other locations.
That'd be cool. Also, it seems like you're describing a Pokemon MMO. It's like
kind of.
Like a photographer, someone to be a gym leader, that kind of thing.
Yes. But I have another thought, and I'm thinking, Zach, this is something else that's your fault now. So, they've already made, 12 different Pokemon games where they're all kind of the same style from the handhelds and you fight stuff. And so now I'm pitching a new idea here, and you're like, yeah, but I want more of that one thing in all those other games that I already have. Give me more of that! You're the whole reason why we're gonna, never innovate anymore. You're like, yes, but give me more of that!
I didn't say,
lame.
That's the only thing I want.
Go in the corner and think about what you've done.
There's a reason it's popular.
Yeah, it's like there's certain game types. Like you were saying, you would want the game to have more of a Morrowind like way to explore. Like there's certain aspects of the game where you enjoy, so you just want to keep playing it. But that shouldn't be the only thing that they develop or that you want to play. It's just there's certain parts that you want to keep playing and then kind of also try new things as well.
It'd be cool if the Pokemon Go game that they've been developing for the augmented reality location based looking for Pokemon just outside and around the world would eventually turn into a MMO where you don't have to be a just random trainer. You could be a gym leader and people would walk to your gym and they would have to fight your trainers.
And if you got beaten so many times, then you'd have to give up your spot.
See,
exactly.
Yeah, so they're doing stuff like that, and they're going to keep on making more of the same stuff because it works. Why change what's not broken? So that's kind of why I would say if they're gonna go another direction and actually do something crazy like that, like the whole idea of Pokemon Snap. If they were to go the next step with it and make it to where it's more like an RPG, and you're this guy that's got to go out there and take these pictures of rare Pokemon. You have to go out and figure out how to get there and overcome obstacles, and then take the pictures and then come back and turn them in for money. It's why keep vestigial aspects of the other games that you're going to keep on making instead of focusing all of your attention on making this as unique and as polished of an experience as possible. It's kind of like Turok, the one for for the original Xbox, Xbox. It was a single player campaign all the way through, and it was really hard. But they also had this tacked on multiplayer just because every game at the time had to have some sort of multiplayer. It was super shitty. The game was designed for you to hunt dinos and for dinosaurs to maul your face off. So it wasn't designed for you to hunt other people. The levels were super lame. The weapons were fun, but then trying to find someone else to play with you was pretty much unless they were in the room sitting with you, it was impossible to find anybody to play. And I'm like, why even waste those resources? They could have polished the game a little bit more instead of doing what works in another game.
I mean, you can have that that really cool, very hyper realistic sort of Pokemon Snap aspect with the Pokemon Go battling aspect, and then you just turn it into an MMO. You pick the career you want to do. You could be a Pokemart, the way you make money is that trainers and people just whoever comes in and buys items from you that you've earned through some other means. But
that could be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, it's like an MMO, and you pick I want to be a news anchor. I want to follow around some trainer and see how their battles go, and people can tune in from their Pokédex and watch us live. Or I want to take pictures. I don't want to be a battler.
Well, there's definitely a big sub-branch of Pokemon Rangers who kind of only lead a single Pokemon around, or the breeders. There's probably a bunch of people that could just subplot into raising them in daycare.
I don't want to be a photographer or a Pokemon store runner or a trainer or a gym leader.
So
I want to breed Pokemon. So
how do
set up your own
Pokemon
little
breed
daycare.
when they don't have any genitals? How do they breed?
Don't worry about it.
That's basically what they like to say. They assume that they kind of do. They're just hidden as normal animals would be, and just not included in the art, because if you do leave them in the daycare, a male and a female leave, come back, suddenly there's an egg.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't know how it got here.
Right. Okay.
So it exists. I think we can assume that they might. I don't know.
So
It's rather odd since they like to dance around it.
all right, before we
Also
stray
rated
too
E
far
for
in
everyone.
the gutter
That too.
for Pokemon breeding, have you guys heard about Nintendo's next console, the NX?
The NX.
Have you-
I've heard a little bit about it, but pretty much only the name and kind of concept. Do you know anything
Yeah,
more?
I'm
Has
not
anything
sure.
else been told?
I'm not even sure if it's been announced that it's or leaked that it's gonna be like the Wii U, or if it's gonna be like more of a mobile console.
Oh,
No,
really?
from what's been leaked so far, it sounds like it's going to be it's going to be a standalone console. It's going to be the next console that's going to come after the Wii U, because the Wii U is kind of a failure, and it's going to have its own name. NX is probably not going to be its final name, just like Dolphin was not the Nintendo 64's final name, or Project Revolution was not the Wii's name.
Yeah.
So, who knows what it's actually going to be called, but there's been a lot of conflicting information that I've been able to scrounge up about it. Like one description sounds like it's going to be like Voltron, but Nintendo. So
Interesting.
you can network a whole bunch of these machines together to make them much more powerful than they would be by themselves. And then I've also heard that, the tech specs are supposed to be really, really superior to even the Xbox One. One estimate was they said it's going to be as powerful as four Xbox Ones put together. And I don't know how that's possible. Not with a $400 price tag.
Yeah, if you do the math, it'll be probably a little bit above the Xbox One, but not 4 times more powerful.
It's not going to just dominate. It's just the next level, which means the Xbox 2 or whatever they decide to do next is going to be dominate this new machine.
Yeah, the Xbox One is probably going to go more modular, like a PC, which is going to be interesting to see happen, because the whole reason you get a console is because it's just you plug and play. That's
this
the whole
console
purpose of the
generation
console.
is really weird to me, if you think about it. If you look at the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, the Wii was kind of doing its own thing off in the corner, but it took a good long while before the games that were created for the consoles looked considerably worse than the versions for the PC. This console generation already, it's not that old. They were only 2 years into this console generation?
Yeah, it's super new.
2, 3,
And it's the stuff for PC, the versions of the games on PC look far superior to what's being put out on console right now. I'm I don't think this console generation can be nearly as long as the last one.
The only exception that I've seen is when they create it as a console game. They're not trying to create a PC version, they just create it as a console game and then don't know how to port it at all. There's been a couple games which have come out that have not had a good PC version at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's because they focused all their time and money into developing for a console.
Well, it depends
and
on which
PCs
company
aren't
you're talking
uniformic.
about. If you're talking about Warner Brothers, then they're just kind of Warner Brothers and Ubisoft are both just irresponsible pricks.
I mean, they've gotten a lot better the last half year.
But Warner Brothers has straight up come out and said, "Look, we don't care about patching bugs. We're working on DLC right now." That's
they
that's
didn't
where
say
they're
it like
at.
that.
They did. They came right out in a press release and said, "We're not worried about the bugs. We're worried about DLC." Not specifically those words, but they did say that. You read that and you're like, "Oh, that's where they're at.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, it's like the only reason most people who develop for console develop for PC is because like people kind of want it, or the people that being the PC owners want it. So they're kind of there's catch-22. Well, it's like now we have to develop for the PC because we're going to lose a lot of money and da-da-da-da-da, so then they're forced in this position where they have to fucking... Now, I'm not saying Warner Brothers and Ubisoft are forced. I mean, they want to do it to make more money, but like smaller gaming developers and companies...
A lot of small companies just develop for Steam, and that's one of the reasons why Steam has such a bad reputation for all the shit that they have in their early access program, but they do have a lot of good stuff, too. You just have to wade through their garbage.
Yeah, it's like, well, the thing is about it, because there is all these low quality things, like it's a lot easier to develop for PC because of how modular it is, how much like users can fix your own bugs and then implement that into a modding system, which they've done with a lot of the popular games. Like they already threw out a lot of stuff for Fallout 4, like right after it came out. Like it seems a lot easier just to, if you're starting out as making a game, to put it through Steam and have it then try to design it and port it to consoles.
No, that's not the case most of the time. Developers have consistently said that it's easier to develop for a console than it is a PC.
I guess
because not everyone owns the same exact specs. It's not a standardized language.
So it is easier to develop for a console, typically. Oh, that's the other thing. Apparently, the NX, according to another rumor, they said it's going to be powerful enough to where you can put in games that are not optimized for the system, like games that belong to even another console, something like that. So it was what they were saying, and it will still be able to run it because it will be able to compensate for the whole what do you call it?
The emulator?
Emulator, yeah. It'll be able to emulate the program needed to run said things. And that one made me really scratch my head, because I don't think it's something that it would naturally be able to know how to do.
I don't think that rumor is going to be true, to be honest. I think this person who's been linking information, or one of the people who've been linking information, his name's Genos, like from the Mario RPG, the puppet.
Yeah,
and he was released some reliable information in the past, and even currently, some of the information does seem like very likely. But there's also some stuff, like you said, like it'll run the Xbox One game, just no big deal.
Well, this is something else that I've seen popping up all over the internet too, though. I've seen videos. I've not watched any of them because they didn't look legit to me, but they're like ways you can upgrade your Xbox One and ways you can upgrade your PlayStation 4, and some of them were ways you could get an Xbox game to run on a PlayStation 4, and I'm like, wait, this is a thing you can do?
I'm sure, like, if you mod it or hack it, or if you wipe the operating system. One thing that people have been recommending, like, to mod your PS4, your Xbox One, is installing an SSD, which is what a computer basically has. It's like a solid state drive.
Yeah.
And
it allows it to access the information faster, and you don't have to worry about a spinning hard drive. But that's this is also an interesting thing about this console generation. This is the first time that consoles are a lot more like PCs than they ever have been before. The whole idea of you having to install a game onto the hard drive in order to play it, like, that was the whole reason a lot of us got a console, so that you could just pop it in and play it. You didn't have to sit there and wait for it to curl its hair and put on its eyeshadow and then its lipstick, and then, turn around and ask you if its butt looked too big, and then we were like, no, you look fine, and then it turns around and downloads a day one patch after that. So you still have to wait. I'm like, this is way more like PC gaming than console gaming.
At that point, I switched over. It was like at the games, even back when I had with games like Morrowind, the moment that I started running into games that it took years on a console, but on my not like my old laptop, it still loaded faster than on a console. Like, granted, that's not for all games, but. It does seem like it's now having to do like 50 layers for the console version.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I think the Xbox One, Rick, I really dropped the ball, too, when it was trying to do everything. They're like, oh, yeah, it's going to do everything. Everything's going to hook in through it. And then, like, yeah, it's got a lot of power with all of its cores there, but then it had so much processing power just dedicated towards the fucking camera that no one wanted anyway, and it was just kind of a leftover remnant from... You know, the Kinect, and now they don't even sell the damn thing with it. But, you know, I haven't heard they've modified the specs of the console to make use of all that extra processing power that was dedicated to the damn Kinect machine. So it's got like untapped power inside of it that instead of like increasing the resolution or something like that, it's just dedicated to Kinect watching you. Even if you have no Kinect, it's still dedicated to Kinect.
Yeah.
I'm like, why would you do that?
Processing power.
That was stupid.
It's because the Kinect isn't actually too bad of a peripheral. It was just when it first came out, it was sort of shoved down everyone's throats and marketing wise.
Well, it still technically is if they're forcing you to use the like processing bits for it when you're not even owning it.
Yeah, they tried to get everybody.
Come out. It's
yeah,
not a deal.
They don't. But that's the thing. Like the specs for the console, like people who design for it, they're still designing for a console that is still sending or saving that that processing power for that camera.
I don't know. I doubt that. I think since patches have been released, you can easily with a patch redirect software usage of processing power.
That doesn't mean that they have. It might be a fact check situation, but it doesn't mean that they have.
To look up. I'm too lazy to fact check it right now, but this is something that if I think about it later on, I will definitely look it up. Send me a text later to remind me, because I'm not going to do it tonight, but I might tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean it's there's varying degrees of like what he said, she said kind of thing going on. So it's like from what I was reading, once you unplug the Kinect, it wasn't using the power or processing anymore. But again, But that's the thing. Like, if you have a Kinect plugged in though, and you buy a new game for it, and your Kinect is still plugged in, the Kinect is still watching you even when you're playing your game. So they can't design a game that's going to take that extra processing power that's for the Kinect when there's a good chance that a good chunk of the population is going to be using the Kinect and it's going to be watching. Otherwise, then they have the same problem they'll have with the computer, and they'll have to design a version to, you know, this one will have superior graphics when they don't have the Kinect plugged in, and then it'll have inferior graphics or performance when it is plugged in. And stuff like that. Yeah.
So that's the point that I was trying to make. It's like they still have to design games for an inferior version of the software.
For that exception to the rule and all that.
Yeah, when they could just be using all of its power all the time by not including something that just looks at your face and signs you in and responds to some basic gestures.
Yeah, in response to some commands and gestures. I think the Kinect, it was a cool idea, and it's a very interesting peripheral, and it's actually kind of convenient.
It's cool. No, it's cool when they have the games, like the games that were made by Microsoft, like that actually worked well with Kinect controls. They were rather fun to play with your family, but they didn't have that many Kinect games in general, and most of them like weren't very responsive at all.
It suffers from bad marketing, bad publicity, and just not enough time developing it.
Even its facial recognition software isn't that good. So I had my account on my sister's Xbox One, and we played a couple games together. And, you know, we look similar, but she's, you know, doesn't have a beard or a mustache. And slightly different facial features.
That's not a part of your skeletal facial features, though.
Your beard changes the way your face looks. So, you know, you put it side by side, you're going to see it's going to be really, really plain and obvious who's who. But her Xbox kept on seeing her when she would walk in for like a week after that, and it would sign me into my account because it thought that she was me. And she's like, I had to remove you from my Xbox because it kept thinking I was you. I'm like, oh, okay, nice. It's some grade A programming right there.
I mean, it could be that you guys have very similar it's just the structure of the face
Well, they do have similar enough for it to like. It's like imagine you put both of their
Bone
faces
structure.
through 8-bit like graphics, then they would look very very similar to the facial recognition software.
I think the software would I think it more so over just recognizes like focal points of like facial structure, like where the nose bridge begins and ends, and like where your cheekbones are, your eyes are, and that kind of thing, with the formation of your chin.
Yeah, it's like, oh, hello, Sonia. I know you. You're just wearing drag today.
Basically, you could take it that way.
Yeah.
But
so
it's a thing. Connect's a thing.
So anyway, I'm done talking about this. Let's move on to our more important issue that are going to have less time to talk about now. The issue of psychoanalyzing Wubwave's dream. So, okay, so you haven't told me what this dream is yet, and listening to other people's dreams is usually really boring. So please tell me what this dream is and try and make it interesting.
I will do my best, okay? He wrote out what he was dreaming, okay? So I want to work on it. So the dream apparently starts out that he found out that he has a stalker. And the stalker enters his house when he's not there, as stalkers do. And the stalker cuts messages into his clothing and other things in his house or apartment. He comes home to find the stalker is a dog.
What?
Specifically a husky.
Husky.
Once I discover... Okay, this is a first person for Wubwave. Once I discover the dog as the culprit, I try to use video surveillance footage to prove that it is a dog, only to find the dog has erased the video footage. Later, as I sit in my home, a gunshot shatters my window. As I look out, I see the dog running away with and realize this dog is capable of shooting firearms. I realize I must confront this dog and head out, so I lure it to a cabin in the woods. I expect the dog to come alone, but I find out the dog has recruited a pack of wolves to its side. Before our final confrontation, the dog explains, in fact, it's not a dog, but a person with a medical condition that just makes them look exactly like a dog.
What?
Our final battle ensues, with Kid Rock performing the fighting music. It concludes with me stabbing the dog man in the chest. His wolf pack, smelling his blood, turns on him as I walk away. Oh,
what
God.
the fuck?
What the actual fuck?
I want to see that made into a horror movie.
It says working movie title is K9mm.
No.
That's clever.
That's a stupid name.
I was trying my best to be like straight faced,
All
but
right.
it just got more ridiculous as I read, and I couldn't handle it.
The doctor is in, and the doctor is psychoanalyzing Wubwave's dream. And the doctor's diagnosis is, yep, he crazy.
Yeah, paranoia. No, but he's like, he was genuinely like, hey, talk about this. I wanna experience the dissection of my dream. So I mean, like the main theme of the first part of the dream, anyway, that he described is like him finding out that there's a stalker. Like, I think that's like a underlying theme of like paranoia, right?
Well, if in the city that he lives in, that just would have to be a kind of a subconscious thing built into you that you kind of always are looking behind your shoulder just in case. You may not be actually in danger at all times, but you kind of want to keep your guard up.
Yeah, so typically with dreams, you can't take them at face value because they obviously don't make a lot of sense, and those things can't actually happen. But what you can look for are themes, and it can shed light on something that bothers you in your own life. So you could say that like this dog that's stalking him, he could have this particular feeling that he's worried that there is someone in his life that makes him feel uncomfortable or unsafe, someone that, just the way that he feels in that dream, there could be someone in his life making him feel that way, and so his mind is just being like, oh, that feeling is kind of like this, and it starts playing out a little story for you in your own head.
Yeah.
So, of course, the story is completely fiction. It's like an adaptation of just what he's feeling. So there could be someone in his life that makes him feel like he's being hunted or stalked or insecure in some way.
It makes him, definitely. There's a sense of like stress, unease, and paranoia within the first few lines of his dream that we just I read. I mean, the reason why dream analysts or therapists who specialize in analyzing dreams, most of them ask what they think the person who had the dream they want them to interpret it, because their subconscious mind is what made it, right? So the only person that will truly understand this dream would probably be Wubbs. Like, what do you think this means? Instead of I think this thing means this, but it's kind of
I call bullshit on all of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
people that are like, oh, there was something in your dream. Oh, that's meaningful. I'm like, I'm 90% sure that it's absolutely meaningless.
Yeah. Sometimes your brain. Well. See, the thing is, it could be like the dog could be representing this or that. But then another thing comes to mind. It could just have been what's most recently on his mind. And in the game Undertale, there's a dog constantly kind of appearing in random places through the game, stealing your stuff, stealing other people's stuff, and just kind of causing havoc.
Yeah, it could be something as simple as that. But because humans are very simple. Humans are emotional creatures. So we experience everything in emotion. So, you get happy, you get sad, someone says something, it makes you feel a certain way. And those are the things that are true to the human experience. So it doesn't really matter, what the craziness is that's going on. You're going to feel good, you're going to feel bad. And those things, when they translate through, you just have to pay attention to the way you feel in a certain setting. And it's that's really what's true. The rest of it, it may or may not have any meaning, and I think if you spend too much time trying to dig into, what did when you saw this, what did it mean? It's you can overanalyze.
What do you think
anything?
It means? Yeah, you can overanalyze anything you want. Why does Dark take 3 breaths at this minute when he's even just analyzing and understanding he takes 3 breaths before he takes a word or says a word, or there's certain words I constantly say repeatedly throughout all my talking and that kind of thing. That's just overanalyzing. But a dream therapist or analyst worth their salt would ask the client to interpret it, because it's what do you think this means?
Even if it just is just giving them a foundation of where to start interpreting it using their expertise, they have someone to bounce off of if they use the first person's own.
They're supposed to be a guide, and they're not supposed to tell you what your dream means. That's the whole point. Because your subconscious mind is trying to alert your conscious mind about something, and that's why there's underlying themes like paranoia and stress.
I think that's giving it too specific of a function, because scientifically we still don't know what the function of dreams actually are. And if you remember all of your dreams that you have, most of them, the reason why you don't remember them is most of them are just nonsense. And it's only when something happens that your conscious mind starts paying attention to it. You're huh? What's this going on over here? This is weird. And usually it's right before you wake up anyway, so you're already kind of partially awake. So, I mean, if you...
It could just be your mind's bored and it's always active, and it just creates things because it needs something to do.
The time I dream most is if I've woken up and then it's morning, but I've gone back to sleep, so I've still kind of woken up. But in that sub sleep that you get from either hitting the snooze button or falling back to sleep, that's when the dreams get my mind's what's this? What's this over here? What's going on?
I'm just saying that that there are some current themes, dreams are a way for your subconscious mind to communicate to your conscious mind. Obviously I'm stressed about this chemistry test because I had a dream about failing my chemistry test.
Oh my god, those are the types of dreams Ken has all the time. He always has dreams where he's got a surprise test of some kind and he's not prepared for it.
It was always chemistry. Anytime I have a stress dream, it's chemistry, and I'm back in high school and I'm what the fuck? And then near the end of the dream, I'm like, I don't take this class anymore. This isn't relevant to my life. And then I wake up, and it's like, oh, I guess that's...
And you failed.
Yeah, basically. Well, I just stopped caring about whether or not I'm failing chemistry, because I don't care. But yeah, it's a very awesome dream. Like, I would have loved to have see this as a movie. It's like a B horror.
It does sound like it a combination of a bunch of different like movie/anime things all happening at once.
It'd make a really good B movie. Really,
Oh,
a really gory B movie.
Definitely.
Speaking of really gory B movies, can we talk about Deadpool?
Just a smidge. I don't want to spoil it for Chaos because he hasn't seen it yet.
That's his fault that he hasn't seen it. I've seen it 3 times now. What's his excuse?
I mean,
I've been editing the thing.
Uh-huh.
we're gonna have maybe we can do a making the rounds of Deadpool, and you can be on it, and we can splurge to our heart's content.
Yeah, but I want to
how much you love the movie.
I'm in the mood now.
I'm in the mood now. I have a headache, honey.
Damn it! Not the headache!
Curse you, headaches!
You always get headaches at the most inconvenient times!
Yeah.
Oh, I got the puppy excited. He's like, what's going on in here?
What's going on? That's what I love about dogs. Is like when you laugh, they get all happy and excited too. They're like, what's happening? What's going on?
And one of my favorite things is kind of, even though it's not necessarily good, it's like kind of the opposite, where they're like, have that sixth sense of, oh, you're sad, I'm just going to kind of sit with you now, or do this or that to try to make you happy. Like, I don't know if you saw that picture on Twitter of the dog that, like, brings their owner, like, some sort of, like, a sock, because it makes the dog happy, so they bring a sock to the human to try to make them happy.
That break my heart.
Have the sock.
I'd start crying and hug the dog.
Right. So at this point, go ahead. What?
I've been meaning to ask you, Dark. How's the training been going for the puppy?
The training is going well. He's very smart, so he catches on pretty quickly. He knows how to sit. He got that right away.
You were saying that he is hyper guilty right now.
So he was earlier. So so first of all, let me just quickly say what he knows how to do. So he knows how to sit. He knows how to wait. So when I give him food, I don't want him like trying to like claw the food out of me. So I like make him sit there and wait. And so he knows the drill now. When I get the food, he'll just sit down and lay there until I tell him it's okay for him to get the food. And the whole leash, he's good at walking on the leash. He goes up and down the stairs and everything, and he's very well mannered. We take him everywhere he gets to see people. So, he's also, because I've seen I'm used to his body language because I had a blue heeler growing up. Her name was Sis. I've talked about her a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And so he has a lot of the same like expressions that she would do. So earlier today, when I was setting up for the podcast, I popped my head out and called him over here, and he like crept into the room and gave me this really guilty look and wiggled the tip of his tail and then backed back out again. And I'm like, oh shit, what'd you do? Because he like had that guilty conscious look on him. Like I said, I went out there and like looked for pee, looked for poop, because I just took him out, so he didn't have to go. So I'm like, what could he have done? Didn't see anything, so I checked to see if he chewed up anything. The carpets were still there, like everything looked normal. And I'm like, and he's still sitting there watching me walk around looking for something, just wagging his tail nervously. I'm like, I don't know what you did, buddy. But I definitely don't know what it is. And I go to pick him up to bring him back into my room, and then my cousin walks in, and she's got a new puppy too. And I'm like, and I have him like come back to me, and I'm like, oh, was this why you were feeling bad? And so I asked her, I'm like, did he do anything earlier? And she's like, no, he just tried to go outside when I was taking the dog out. I'm like, okay, he knows he's not supposed to try and get out the door without his leash on, so he told on himself.
And that's just so cute and sad.
He's like, he tried to run out the door without his leash, and she put him back in, and he's like, oh, I've done something bad. And I didn't even know about it, but he's like telling on himself.
It's so weird when you talk about a leash, because none of my dogs need a leash. I'll just say, come on, let's go, or let's go, kids, and they'll all just follow.
Well, you have the area around your house that's an area around your house.
It's like
a lot of people don't have
Yeah, I live
A
in
lot of people don't have free land to be able to just walk outside with their dogs.
I live in a second floor apartment, and there's a leash law, so
leash laws.
he has to be on a leash when he's outside.
You some damn city folk with them fancy leash laws. I get. Mm-hmm.
And I've got the little roll of doggy pooper picker uppers. So if he goes, then I can scoop it up and take it to the nearest trash receptacle.
Is he a small breed, a medium breed, or?
He'll probably be 40 or 45 pounds when he's all grown up. His
okay.
dad looked a little on the taller side, so and he's kind of taking after his dad a little bit. So he might be up to 45 pounds, but I'm gonna guess it's gonna be closer to 40.
That's a good sized dog.
Yeah, good medium size. He's not going to be super tall. Not like my sister's pit bull. He has no concept with how big he is. So like he's constantly like knocking the back of your leg when you're standing. So you're like kind of fall over, and he uses his tail to whip you with it when he's happy.
Yeah.
I'm like, Xavier, you don't know how big you are. Just stop. Please calm down. And he can't help. He's like, no, I can't calm down. I'm so excited. I'm just so excited. Like, please calm down.
And boxers, the breeds that you normally like, they get their tails trimmed. Like they have whip tails. Those are whip tails.
Yeah, if we had coffee tables and had anything fragile on those coffee tables, they'd be flying across the room.
Yep.
Which is why we don't have coffee tables.
I get that life, man. I get it.
It's like Ozdax is gonna have a nice fluffy tail, not super super fluffy, but it's gonna be kind of like just the right amount of fluff.
Does he have a squeaky toy?
Yeah. You can hear that back there. Stop that.
Stop that. I'm recording. Daddy's recording.
Daddy is recording. Drop the squeaky toy.
Squeak.
I'm just going to shut the door.
I'm glad you have a new puppy. Cause pets make you feel good, man. It gives you something to do.
Well, that's why I'm getting one very soon. I have all the things. We've been getting all the things shipped. So we have like the food, everything is cleaned out of the room. We just kind of have to do one or two more things to get the puppy which is going to be like his sleeping area while we integrate him with the other animals.
Oh, I told you that I started an Instagram account just for my pictures of him, right?
Oh, no,
yeah, I've gone to your Instagram a couple of times. It was linked in the most recent podcast we talked about the dog.
So yeah, I never had an excuse to make Instagram because I don't like the fact that those photos are technically owned by Instagram, who's owned by, is it Microsoft who owns Instagram now?
I think it's Facebook.
I don't remember who
No,
owns
that's
it.
Twitter. I don't know. It's complicated. Don't
But
worry about it.
Whoever it is, like the images, once they're uploaded, they're not technically yours anymore, so they can be used by them. I'm like, I don't want to put any of my photos on there because whatever. But then I'm like, I've got all these puppy pictures. Everyone loves puppy pictures, and I don't really care if they use my puppy for anything. So I'm like, okay, now I have a reason to put photos on Instagram. So get your daily dose of Ozdax and subscribe.
Yeah.
Ding! That's
his pimp for the day.
That's my plug. It's my plug.
My social plug.
Well, I don't have a Facebook anymore. I closed that down.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fuck Facebook.
Family members, man.
I just couldn't take it anymore. Facebook, I originally got it to keep in touch with my family, but then Facebook changed their algorithm, and we all know how that happened. The whole world was really upset when that happened, and it's just like, oh well, now only like 10% of the people on your friends list are going to receive your message, and if they interact with it, then we will send your message to more people on your friends list. But if no one interacts with it within the first few minutes or first hour, whatever the timer is, then it just stops there. So it went from being a comprehensive news feed from the people that I had subscribed to being what it felt like showing me based off of what was most popular and amongst the people in my friends group. I'm like, this is an echo chamber. This is not giving me, like, when my aunt updates something, I'm not going to necessarily, like, give it a thumbs up or something. I just wanted to see, want to be able to check in and be like, oh, okay, she did such and such day. Or,
I think that's why they added the follow button, but now that's, like, a whole thing.
It doesn't...
I don't think it updated your friends that you already
Twitter
have.
does that so much better because you can not only get every single post, you can also choose to, at least on your phone, you choose to get I want it to actually giving me a specific notification when this person tweets. But this person, they tweet, a lot, so I turn off notifications. Like, you can, it seems like a lot better condensed news feed.
So that was that issue. Now there's a whole nother issue. So Facebook is stealing monetization from YouTube now.
Yes.
They have their own video program, and they have made it to where it prefers videos that are uploaded to its own player over links to YouTube, which sounds good in theory. It had anything you upload to it wants to prioritize over Facebook or over YouTube. However, over 3/4 of all of the content uploaded to Facebook is stolen from YouTube, and there's no way to link to the original artist. There's no way to search for specific videos, and there's no way to quickly get a stolen video taken down. And by the time Facebook does get it taken down, it's already seen about 98% of all the views it's ever going to get over the course of its life. And over that time, Facebook has profited off of all of it because it's showing you advertisements and everything. And even if the creator goes through all the appropriate channels and gets the thing taken down, Facebook's like, well, sorry, dude, but this money's mine.
Yeah,
so
it's like there's 13 other people who have their video, so why even bother? One of the main offenders of this recently is SoFlo Antonio. He's one of those prank assholes who does the shitty pranks, and what he'll do is he was trying to make fun of somebody who did an actual reaction video. They would break it down, they would pause, they would give an analytical definition of what they thought about at that moment during the video, and they may even throw a few skits in there. So basically their reaction was transformative, comparatively to where SoFlo would just download the video, then watch it on YouTube and just stare at a blank face, and it's just rewatching the video but on his channel. And now he's doing that for fucking Facebook. He'll upload somebody else's video.
Yeah, it's which
to Facebook under his page.
Which is not, it's not, it doesn't seem like it should be legal, but Facebook is so big and there aren't strict rules. It's YouTube has its own fair use thing that it does, but Facebook doesn't really have anything quite like that. And this was the kicker for me. So Facebook also has a really shitty algorithm for collecting what it considers views.
Oh,
so
5 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, so Facebook had the audacity to declare that they had beat YouTube in number of views or something like that. They just had this absolutely massive number of views. And 3/4 of that was from stolen content. 2, they make it to where the video is autoplay in your feed.
Autoplay.
So
annoying.
As you're scrolling down, if you're scrolling down at a leisurely pace, even with no sound, if there's 3 to 5 seconds of video that plays, it counts it as a view. So and that's completely wrong, because no one clicked on it, no one prompted it to go, but because you're just scrolling through your feed and it just happened to play without any audio, which it's a video, so it should have some audio, it's still a view. I'm like, if this is the game Facebook is playing, it's it already no longer serves the purpose that I signed up for. That it's broken to me. And now it's doing all this shit, and I love my community on YouTube. We have a channel on YouTube, 2 channels on YouTube, and I watch a lot of people on YouTube, and I donate money to some of my favorite people on YouTube because I want to see them succeed. And knowing that they're getting their stuff stolen and they're losing all this money because Facebook is just irresponsible, fuck it, I've had enough. I am no longer participating in this company. Closed it.
It's already difficult enough for people to get start off on YouTube to make a fair amount. If that YouTube is their only source of income, that's destroying everything, especially if their videos are the ones being stolen over. I didn't know that the algorithm had developed in that awful of a way. And the problem is there's so many people that don't really know about how that type of thing works at all, just because it's one of those things that everyone has, even if you're not very technologically inclined.
Oh yeah, and that's
Facebook,
what Facebook is using to its advantage. It knows that its user base is pretty much everybody, old ladies. The younger generations moved on to other social networks. So they just have a bunch of middle-aged people and older people who don't know how people that do make a living off of YouTube, off of making content for online. They don't understand how that works. So they have no need to educate themselves. They have no need to know
They don't
this.
even care. Like,
Yeah,
they don't really care
exactly.
either,
It's
so
not it's not relevant. So it's kind of like don't know, don't care, doesn't affect me, whatever. But
that's the shitty thing as well, is because like they're not these people who are uploading YouTubers videos are not. They're not stealing like the first 30 minutes of Star Wars or something that could be taken down. They're stealing somebody's transformative content or art that they worked hours on editing and rendering and filming.
Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely be going through the process many times over. What might be just like a 1-minute video might have taken them like days to complete, especially if it was like some
It's like
animator or
animation,
something.
yeah.
And so get this too. So I don't know if we've been hit by a YouTube strike, but YouTube has something in place to protect people who have their content stolen. It's exploited by big companies who, like people who do movie reviews and game reviews. So it's exploited by them because these big companies will be like, hey, some of my content's in here, strike or takedown notice, whatever. But for other people who make original content and don't show clips of anything like that, it's a safeguard. So if someone, says, hey, this person's stolen my stuff, monetization stops, YouTube investigates, and if they find out, hey, yeah, this is stolen, cease and desist, take it down, whatever, they fix the problem. And if the same account has multiple strikes against it because they've stolen a bunch of content, that channel is shut down. Yeah. Facebook encourages people to keep on stealing. There's no repercussions for it. And in fact, it's a long, torturous process for someone to actually get Facebook to take down something.
That's utterly sad. I've been around like seeing a bunch of like that being a major problem with a lot of artists and animators, and to now it being spread up further through just all of the like YouTube content and followers that I've already seen.
Yeah.
That baffles me that that's even been allowed to get that awful.
Yeah.
And it's also very sad that it's probably not going to change because of its like you said, most of its user base is just the everyone.
Yes,
and it's consistently getting older too. Like Facebook's demographic is
Facebook is turning into what MySpace was.
So if you couldn't tell, I was really pissed off by this. So, yeah, I didn't just deactivate my account because I'm like, my information, it tells you straight up, like, hey, we're going to keep stuff, hanging around in limbo for you. I'm like, oh, fuck no. So I went back through, deleted all of the pictures that had my face in it, which I had a lot of pictures over the years. And then I went through and unfriended every single person on my friends list. Then I changed my name. I got rid of all my contact information. And then I deactivated my account. So, even though that information, that false information, and some other random pictures may still be floating around in deactivation zone, it's not me. I'm like,
you.
Yes!
You
done
should
it.
have just said, like, fuck it, I'm a dragon. And,
I should have.
Your picture should have been, like, a very, like, elaborate drawing of a dragon.
Like, fuck this, I'm a dragon.
It definitely. I mean, I'm sure it's in combination. This isn't the only thing. I'm sure this was like the last straw in combination with your associates and family members just posting the craziest shit, and you're like, okay, well, I need to not be here anymore. This is ridiculous.
Oh no, I still in theory like the idea of being able to keep in touch with my family, but because Facebook's they changed their algorithm to where I couldn't see a
So you can't even see your own family's posts like that. That's another thing that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I kept on getting the same shitty pictures of like these inspirational religious things that two of my more religious family, because they'd get a lot of thumbs up. So I was like, oh, here, you want to see this? I'm like, no, I don't. In fact, this is the thing I want to see the least of. And because it has the most interaction from other people, this is what you're showing me. Like, no. I can't even use you the way you're supposed to be used, you stupid website.
Twitter has that where it's going with trending and whatnot, where they do send me notifications of like tweets that a lot of people have done stuff with, but that's like a side email that I elected to get.
Yeah, I do the same thing, and I can still like scroll through the whole list of everything everybody else has tweeted, and I'm like, this is good. Like, everybody that I'm following, I see all of their stuff, which is exactly what I want to do. I said, hey, I'm subscribing to you so I can see all your shit. Let me see it. As long as you do that one simple thing, let me see your shit. That's all I want you to do. Don't change it. Yeah. It's that easy. The old Rooster Teeth used to be that way too, and then, they updated it, and it doesn't really work anymore. Oh, why do people keep on breaking what was working just fine? Oh, that's so frustrating.
It's because they'd never heard the words, if it isn't broke, don't fix it.
So, anyway,
broke, don't fix it.
I've ranted enough about that, and we're running out of time here. Do you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about before we do our thing?
I think that's about everything. We ranted about Bob's Dream, we covered the crazy-ass GTA 5 thing.
Fuck it, I'm a dragon.
Fuck it, I'm a dragon.
Exactly.
And on that note, I guess I will pull a Tejan and be the Tejan for this podcast.
Yes, please do.
Most certainly. So, if you want to listen to not only this podcast in the future, but our old podcasts, our archive, you can go to iTunes and listen at your own discretion and pleasure. Binge it if you want, work out to it, do some laundry, whatever you want to do. You can do it.
Binge it.
You can do it all the times, all the stuffs at iTunes. Just look up the forum thread. We'll have links provided below.
For your convenience.
For your convenience. We have a Facebook if you want to, post something, say hi to us. We have a Twitter if you want to just get all of our latest news and updates. We have our own site, www.theforumthread.com, where you can join us in the forums and have conversations about anime, books, manga, movies, and more.
There's also threads in there.
Exactly. There's threads upon threads upon threads. Amen. We have a Twitch where you can hit that follow button and stay with us live for gaming stuff and our podcast every Wednesday. And then don't forget to check out YouTube, where you have TFT Plays for your gaming pleasures and TFT Productions for live action shenanigans and our podcast and making the rounds and much, much more.
And for those of you who are watching us, listening to us live right now, just remember, I love you the most. And with that, anything else, Chaos? Or we're ready to say
I think we're good for here now.
All right, everybody, we will bid you all a good night. We'll do this again, same time, next week. Adios.
Boys.
Bye, I miss you.